Get after for 6 to 8 seconds. Guys, this is what we had to get. This ain't the one we want. You want that
Welcome to another episode of the Laurel Leader-Call Sports Show. I'm your host, Jack Fairchilds, joined alongside my good friends, colleagues, Kevan Lindsey and Josh Guru Nichols. Guys, we're here. We're finally here, the first week of the football season. We're getting underway. Guru's already showing off our brand new football magazine that is behind both myself and Kevin, so you can see the football magazine throughout the show. It just released today, hot off the presses. First question, Guru. I know you've been out of sports coverage for a while, so this is your first football magazine in how many years now?
The last one that I did would have been 2018. My last full year here was 2017, but I did help with a lot of the college coverage in the 2018 magazine, so 6 years.
6 years. Kevin, you've been a part of some other football magazines before this one. I think this is my first time in a football magazine, I think since 1999, 2000. So, and that was well away from here. It was in the Vicksburg area for the Vicksburg Post. So it's my first one in a long time. I'm excited about the publication. I'm excited about the things that we have on this thing. And I guess one of the first things we want to talk about is we've got our own Dirty Dozen list in here, Guru. And I'll let you go ahead and go through this list, and we'll start talking about, these players that we singled out here.
Well, the one thing, and it's been discussed before in print, but not in this type of format. When we met with the four Jones County coaches, we asked them, or said, this is what we want to do. Give us your three best players, not necessarily your three best athletes, but your three best players that are on the team. Doesn't matter if they're a senior or not, but not only are they good football players, but they're good students, and they're just good young men all the way around. And I know all three of us spent, almost 2 hours one day 6 weeks ago with all 12 of these guys. And we've talked about this before, but all 12 of these young men were just outstanding. And again, kudos to our local Jones County high school football coaches for sending us these guys. And South Jones was represented by quarterback Colin Flowers, receiver, running back, just Mr. Do-It-All, even plays some on defense, Anquan Jackson, and then defensive back Jeremiah Jackson. You go over to the Jungle Northeast, you have defensive end, one of Kevin's favorite, Mr. Percy Taylor, then running back A.J. Pugh, and then another big young man is defensive tackle Carson Lyons. From Laurel, we had Jamal Abney, who plays safety for the Tornadoes, Zachariah Jenkins, wide receiver, who we'll talk about a little bit more in this show, and then Tamaj Harris, Laurel's 5'9", 205-pound running back. And then we wrap up over in So-So with Wes Jones and quarterback Tootie Lindsey. This will be his fourth year starting. He started since an eighth grader. Then safety linebacker Johnny B.B. Hilton, and then the big man up on the offensive line, LSU commitment Bryson Cooley. And that's your 12 players for the Leader-Call Dirty Dozen list. And this is something that we're going to continue as long as we're here. And then hopefully, after we're gone, if we ever leave, it just is something that continues every year, guys.
Kevin, talk for a second about, your excitement for finally see the magazine out. We put in a lot of work, a lot of sweat and tears to try to get this thing out and on time. Tell me what you like most about this year's football magazine.
Man, I love the Dirty Dozen list. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think that just seeing how the coaches responded to having 3 players from each school, we talked about what if we end up with 6 or 7 players from one school and, having 4 schools if another school only has 1, or maybe they even miss out. But, talking to each coach, all 4 coaches were in agreement that they wanted 3 kids apiece. And I love that. Obviously, the photo shoot was fun. We had to dodge the rain. We had to reschedule a shoot with Wes Jones because of the rain. But each kid was so good. I can't say that enough. They're great athletes, and they're just great kids. Guru just talked about it. Percy Taylor, I'm excited to see him at Northeast Jones, but I'm excited to see all of them hit the field, and we got to see that, obviously, in the Jamboree at Jones College, but just each kid was unique, and I hope that that parents, that fans, that they understand that these kids are good kids on and off the field. So the Dirty Dozen was probably my favorite. I think our A to Z is another thing that I really liked. It got everyone involved, and we all picked something. I really enjoyed that. And just the variety, man. We have schools from Jones County, Jasper County, Smith County, Forest County, Lamar County. We got schools everywhere. Wayne County,
Covington.
So Covington County. You've got schools from everywhere that we were able to put previews together for.
18 in all.
Yeah, and not just that, because we did also feature the SEC and Southern Miss as far as our college coverage. I found the entire process to be fun and entertaining, especially when we would sit down together and kind of come up with ideas and different directions we could take in this year's magazine. It was a fun thing. I mean, there were times where we might have felt a little bit of stress because coming up on deadline, making sure we meet everything. But at the end of the day, to be able to put something out like this, that we can give to those kids, and it's, for a lot of these kids, that's something that I'm sure that they'll hold on to well beyond their playing days in high school.
And, I think, Kevin, you were the one that came up with the Dirty Dozen term, and which I love. And, there's a newspaper up in the metro area. We'll just call it the CL. And they've been doing it since 1989. They do their quote unquote dandy dozen, where they try to highlight the 12 best players. And originally I thought that was the avenue we wanted to take. But then once we met with the coaches, and then with what we got with these 12 kids, I don't think we need to emulate or copy anything the CL does in any form whatsoever in any medium. And I think what we did is a good representation for each of the 4 schools.
Well, talking of that dandy dozen, I think it's worth getting into, because again, I think you brought up something. I think there was a time where the newspaper in question that you referred to as the CL, when they first put out their original Dandy Dozen years ago, they were more of a statewide newspaper.
Correct.
I don't see them as that now.
No.
And you can see it show up in the Dandy Dozen that they put out, because it is very Jackson metro area centric. So I don't think it represents the entire state the way that it once did. So I guess the biggest question, and I'll go to you first, Kevin, and then you can follow up, Guru. Did the CL get it right?
Let me prove this, okay, by saying this. Times have changed. Like you said, Guru, in 1989, the newspaper industry as a whole was different.
Correct.
Heck, it's changed a ton since COVID, right? In just
absolutely.
the past 5 years. And the CL used to be a statewide newspaper. Now they're really not. Like they say they are, but let's be honest, they're not. And they're corporately owned, and not only that, because of the way that the newspaper industry's changed, newsrooms have gotten smaller. So they basically have one staffer covering an entire state. And you can't ask that for anybody. It's hard enough for the three of us to cover 4 county schools and just the outliers also. So I'll say that to say this, that I do think there was some kids that they missed on. I think there was some kids that got looked over. Maybe it was because of time. Maybe it was because they just didn't do the research that they needed to do. Maybe it's a bit of both. I don't know. But I do think they missed out. Like Bryson Cooley was not on the list. I don't think there's a lineman, offensive lineman on that list. And we have a 4-star who's committed to LSU from up north. And then we have Cooley who's committed to LSU. And neither one of them made the list. And then you have the issue of the Tupelo debacle. I think that's just crazy to me that probably Tupelo's best player was not on the list, from what I understand.
Correct. And just piggyback off what everything that you just said, and you hit the nail right on the head. Number one, I think it comes down to, and I don't know who does what at the CL. Don't care. And I did my own research, and I went through the 3 biggest recruiting websites or rankings: 247 Sports, Rivals.com, and then of course ESPN. And through my research, they're all different. And it wasn't. I didn't look at the national list. For each one, they break it down by state. And the list that the CL put out, if you compare it to 247sports.com, it is almost to a T. 11 of the 12 players that 247 Sports ranks in their top 12 are on that list. And then one that fell outside of 247 Sports that is on the list. I don't even remember which one it is, but like the kid you're talking about from Tupelo, defensive lineman, Jarrella McCoy, he ranks in the top 15 of every recruiting database. How is he not on there?
That's crazy.
I mean, yes, I agree. Bryson Cooley from West Jones absolutely should have been on there, but leaving that kid out, I mean, he's a 5-star recruit and not on the list. Come on now. And then the other offensive lineman you're referring to that's going to LSU with Bryson would be Emmanuel Tucker from New Albany, and he ranks in the top 12 on Rivals. But yet you leave him off the list. So snubs, yes, absolutely. And like Jack, like you said, I mean, you look at the list: Hartfield Academy, Jackson Academy, Brandon. I mean, out of 12 players, 4 of them, 33%, right there in the metro area. I mean, I'm not knocking these kids. This Braylon Womack from Hartfield Academy, I mean, he's legit. He's a legit top 5 across the board from all the other recruiting rankings, and I don't have a problem with that. But 2 kids from Jackson Academy are 2 of the top 12 players in the state. Give me a break, CL. Come on, you can do better. I don't care how many staffers you got, you can do better.
Before we move off this topic, one more question for both of you guys, because one of the things I really like about our list is the fact that we understood who we were covering. We kept it with the local kids. We involved the coaches in helping us pick them. Do you think that that's probably the direction that, papers like, I know the CL for a long time, like I said they were Mississippi's paper. Those days are long behind. We already have established that in our other discussion. I think they'd be doing better service to their readers, to the people that are actually still picking up their paper. I think they'd be doing a better service just calling their Dandy Dozen the Jackson metro area Dandy Dozen, because I think that's their expertise.
I mean, if you look at the list, and I mean, a third of the players on there are from that area, I totally agree. I think it would be, like you said, better for their readers. It'd be better for their kids, because then you're featuring 12 kids that are in your local coverage area. I mean, how many times is that paper going to be down here to watch West Jones?
Not many.
Right.
When are they going to go to Picayune, Pascagoula, Petal, Greene County, Kemper County?
I think that's I agree with y'all. And I think that's the problem. And I think the CL would say, well, we have our sister papers, the Hattiesburg American and so forth and so forth. Their staffs are cut. Their staffs are decimated.
How many sports people are at the Hattiesburg American?
I don't believe they have any. I think they've got 2 on staff. I think that's their staff is 2 people. I could be wrong, and I'm not just throwing that out there, but I could be wrong. But the last I heard was 2. So, I just don't, like you said, if you're going to be in the Jackson metro area, then just take your players. I'm sure there's plenty of players in the Jackson metro area that are deserving of this list, but I think the CL is holding on to this Dandy Dozen. And like I said, I used to want to know who was on the Dandy Dozen too.
Yeah, but how long ago was that?
But it's right. It's been several.
I mean, I know as a teenager, being a part of Laurel High School athletics, I mean, we're talking mid-90s. We're talking 30 years ago. Yeah. And that's different. And like you said multiple times, that was back when they actually covered the entire state. They had people in different areas of our state that knew their region, like we know our county.
Yeah.
And no more reason to beat a dead horse.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Well,
he just threw the paper.
Well, guys, the jamborees, we talked about the fact that we were getting ready to go to them last week. Now the jamborees have been played, and to me it was a fun chance. It was a showcase to get to see our teams in action. It was an opportunity to actually show up and see them. Yes, it was only 2 quarters played. Yes, it doesn't count against the records. But
yes, it was hot as hell.
It was pretty hot. I definitely agree with that. But it was definitely, I think, a great opportunity for the kids to get to line up against live competition that's not their teammate. And I think it was done very, very well by Jones College. I think that they put together a great atmosphere. It's something I hope that continues on to next year. Kevin, I'll let you start this time. Tell us what you thought of the jamborees.
Yeah, first of all, I was going to say exactly what you said, that the best thing about it was, and I talked to Coach, I want to say Coach Pearson. I don't know why I want to say Coach Pearson. I guess the ghost of Coach Pearson is roaming the sidelines. But I talked to Coach Corey Reynolds, and I said, man, how are y'all feeling? He said, good. We get to hit somebody else besides our own selves for a change. And that's the truth. I had the opportunity to see West Jones and Seminary play 2 quarters. I left a little bit early of that game, had to go get my daughter, but I also got to see Laurel play, take the field, and I'm excited. I'm excited for what I saw. Of course, it's sloppy, and coaches are constantly staying on players, but that's what you expect in a jamboree. They're trying to learn the system because you probably got new guys being plugged in and all of that. But overall, I kind of liked it. I liked what I saw from Laurel offensively. Coach Ernest was right, man. They just speed, and they're going to be dangerous. They're going to be dangerous once they figure it out. And then West Jones, once they got settled in, especially defensively, I thought that they looked good against Seminary. Obviously, going against a Mitch Evans coach team, you're going to expect that team to go fast and move the ball too and spread it around. So they get settled in, but they look good. Offensively, I thought they looked pretty good too overall. So, yeah, I like what I saw from both teams.
And just to expound on that a little bit, and I'm going to roll it back real quick because you left one out. Jones College, you are in the magazine. So
They are.
Jones
Jack,
College.
That is a great call out there. I appreciate that.
No problem. But no, absolutely, Jones College, you did a phenomenal job. I pray that we get to do this year after year after year. Everybody I talked to, and I did actually get to talk with Coach Scott Pearson. I was there for the first game, South Jones, Lawrence County, and in between that game and the Northeast Jones Summerall game, I went to the hospitality area and found Coach Pearson and former Northeast Jones coach Keith Braddock and our Jones County superintendent of schools, Dr. B.R. Jones. I got to talk with all 3 of them for a few minutes, and both Braddock and Pearson were just, they were like, man, I wish we got to do this while we were still coaching. They just were just very complimentary of how it was all put together, how it ran. And, it was just done very well. The one thing that I would like to see, and we've talked about this prior to the Jamboree, since the Jamboree, I even talked with it with Coach Pearson, and then he agreed. I would like to see Jones College reach out to our brethren in Jasper and Smith counties and get four of those schools and rotate 4 schools every year in and out from our sister counties. Maybe even bring Wayne County in and put them up against somebody like that they might not be scheduled to play that year.
Or West Jones.
Right. And but overall it was great. And like you said, I mean it's still practice. I mean, I gotta be practice back in here. We ain't talking about the game, man. We talking about practice. But no, it was sloppy at times. But watching South Jones, as long as their offensive line stays healthy, man, watching Anquan Jackson run the football, he's going to be a fun one to watch. Defense, they got a little growing to do, and I think they're going to be fine. Northeast Jones, they showed some signs offensively. Mazingo, their quarterback, he hit on I don't know, it was somewhere between 50, 60-yard touchdown pass play where the receiver, there was broken coverage on the back end for Summerall, but it was a long touchdown they got there. Then they got an interception on defense, a fumble recovery. The defense, like we talked about before and also in the magazine, the defense is going to carry them to begin the season. Hopefully Mazingo and Pugh and the rest of the offense gets to have some time. They'll have some growing pains early on, and but I think it's going to help them in the long run. But overall and all in all, Jack, as far as the Jamboree goes, I mean, grand slam. No, it's a different sport. I mean, grand slam, touchdown, slam dunk. You nailed it in all phases, Jones College. Thank you.
The one thing I will say that I think that they figured out, and me and Sean Wansley were talking about it, their SID. He was talking about, he's like, man, I didn't realize it was going to go by so fast. They had 2 hours for each team.
Yeah.
And they had a little bit of a lightning delay, from what I understand, right at the start of the Jamboree. But he's like, even then, we still were way ahead of schedule. So we were finishing up Laurel a little after 7, and Corey came by. He's like, man, I wish we could go ahead and get started. But West Jones fans hadn't started filing in yet.
Well, and see, that was one thing that Pearson and I talked about. Was he kind of alluded to the same thing, because after that first South Jones Lawrence County game, it was done and the JV reps had already been done, and they were supposed to start at 2. They didn't start till 2:15, but the varsity was done before 3. JV is walking off the field about 20, 25 minutes later, and he was saying, well, if they would have started at 2, maybe we could cut this to an hour and a half. But that was the first thing that popped in my mind, logistics. And the South fans are going to start leaving as the Northeast Jones fan or whoever the next game is are coming in. And so I think that 2-hour window is perfect, because even though you might have a half hour, 35 minutes between action, but that gives fans time to leave and the other team's fans time to get in and get settled in.
And to that, one thing I told Sean was, well, you have teams that run the wing tee and run the ball too. That's going to make the clock wind down faster, because Laurel started kind of throwing the ball a little bit. And I do want to say Petal looked really good. They had 2 touchdowns in that game. One was a circus catch by their wide receiver. I mean, there was nothing the Laurel DB could have done. It was an insane catch. But I do want to say that too. If you had teams just tossing the ball around, throwing it, that would have extended that period a little bit. And 2, one thing that I saw, and I wish I would have brought my daughter, they had jump slides and like all kind of stuff out there on the edge of the field. So there was lots to do.
Corn dogs.
Yeah,
LSU alert. LSU alert.
You go get something to eat. So.
I did.
The biggest thing too, and you can talk about, we finished too quick or this or that, but that was this year and that was that game. You never can predict that. So I think I agree with Guru. 2-hour window is right. It gives the fans plenty of time to get in, get out, and the next one to come in. I think if you start trying to speed things up, what happens when you run into two teams that are just throwing the ball and they take that full time. So I think 2 hours is the perfect time. And even if, no matter what you pick, you're going to have an issue one way or the other. It's either going to be, we didn't give ourselves enough time to get everybody out, or, well, we got more dead time. I'd rather have the more dead time, and then everybody can get in.
Well, and two, I mean, that goes back to something Kevin said about with all the other things they had there, all the other vendors, you got that break. It's a perfect time. I don't know how long Coach Pearson stayed, but I know he was there for the beginning of the South Jones game, and I know he texted me the next morning asking me how Wes looked, in which I had to text him back and let him know, hey, but I wasn't there. I had other obligations. But so I know he stayed through Northeast and possibly watched part of Laurel before he headed to the house. And, that would give – and I'm sure he was one of many that were there. I know District Attorney Brad Thompson was there for the Northeast Jones game, took it in, said he was going to leave and go with his wife, get a bite to eat, and then they were coming back to watch West Jones. So, I mean, you have people there that don't have kids there.
Yeah.
That are not, even though they were once part of the program in some facet. I know Brad, once was a big part of the booster club at West Jones when his kids were there. And, like you said, the ghost of Coach Pearson, he was there for well over 2 decades. But, I'm sure there was many, many, many more people that were there just to take everything in. And going full circle, that brings us back to the whole time frame. Even though you might have had 30 to 45-minute break between the action, that's the perfect time for people to go get a bite to eat or take the kids down and especially the younger ones and give them some time on the jumps and slides.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I think it's time to start getting into a couple of picks here, and I guess I'll go with I'll read off the games and I'll make my pick and then go to you, Kevin, and then save Guru there for last, since he's the guru, so that means he should be the expert on it. He should hit every pick.
And right? I'm going to be calculating these each week too, by the way.
Perfect. Well, we'll start with college games, and I'm going to add one that you don't have on the list because I think that the Alabama at Florida State game is one we should absolutely pick. And Kevin, I think that, again, Florida State had a terrible season last year.
They did.
They were historically bad for that program. Even though they're hosting Alabama, I don't think that's the matchup that you want for week one. I know Alabama's maybe not the Alabama they were under Nick Saban, but they're still Alabama. And I think the Crimson Tide take care of business by a couple of scores.
Yeah. As much as it pains me to say it, I think that Alabama is going to walk away with this one. It's kind of like this. You give them time to prepare, and they've had a whole off season to prepare. I know Florida State has that same off season to prepare, but let's be honest. It's Alabama. They've got new guys coming in, obviously breaking in a new quarterback and all of that, but Florida State was awful. They were awful. So, yeah, I'm picking Bama.
So, I know a lot of you that watch this also watch College Game Day on ESPN on Saturday mornings. And if you've been following along, you know that this Saturday, with Game Day being up in Columbus, Ohio, it's going to be the last hoorah for just one of the greatest to ever do what we're doing. And they kind of are the inspiration behind what we're doing. But talking about Coach Lee Corso, he'll be on his last show. He'll make his last headgear prediction. And outside of his headgear prediction, there's one thing that he's always famous or has become famously known for. And I'm going to do it to you guys right now. And I'm going to give you a not so fast, my friends, because, Coach Corso played at Florida State.
You did?
Yeah. Florida State was bad last year.
Really bad.
Bama lost to Oklahoma.
They did.
Bama finished 9-3. Now I'm going Pat McAfee. Roll, Tide, roll.
He's just trying to steal from everybody. So nothing wrong with that. Next one will be the one closest to Guru's heart. That's going to be LSU at Clemson. For most of you I know you're painfully aware that Brian Kelly has the last 3 or 4 seasons in a row, week 1 has been his kryptonite. He hasn't been able to get it done in week 1. I think LSU is going to be a force this year. I think they're going to compete for an SEC title, but I'm not saying they're going to make it to the SEC title. Let me be clear. I think they're going to be in the thick of the hunt for it, but I think Clemson's going to get them in week 1. This is a good Clemson team, a team that has national championship aspirations. They're at home. You factor that in along with Brian Kelly and his problems in week 1. I think it's the Clemson Tigers. Kevin?
Clemson takes care of business. Brian Kelly's going to be gone by the end of the year. All that talent's wasted in the Bayou.
Well, not so fast, boys. Not so fast. Tell you this. Yes. Underperforming week 1 under Brian Kelly, well documented. As painful it is to say, I was in Vegas last year for the season opener against USC. Got to witness it firsthand, and it sucked. But all off season, the LSU Tigers have been prepared for one thing, and that's a trip to Clemson. There's a P sound in there for those that didn't know. They're weird. But it's Death Valley against Death Valley. It's the Tigers and the Tigers. Let me tell you, that Clemson Tiger mascot is the ugliest mascot in the world. Not the country, the world. LSU 38, Clemson 27. Go Tigers.
There you go. I had no doubt that Guru was going to pick LSU, did you?
No, I had no doubt.
Next, we'll look at Notre Dame at Miami. Notre Dame traditionally hasn't fared well when they've traveled to Miami, but I do think Marcus Freeman has this program on the right track. And I think that this will be the year they go down to Miami. They take care of business. So I'm picking Notre Dame in that game.
Let's go ahead and clear the air here for the entire podcast. Jack Fairchilds is picking Notre Dame because he is a Notre Dame fan. We're outing him.
I'm a Notre Dame fan, but I also don't believe the U is back either, because we've been told how many times the U is back, and then they're never truly back.
I'm just saying, we're in SEC country, and he's picking Notre Dame. Anyway, yeah, it's Catholics versus convicts. I believe that game is on a Sunday. I'm going with the Catholics, baby. The U is not back. You were exactly right.
So all that set up just to agree with me.
Yeah, all that set up just to agree with you. And I do not like Notre Dame.
Oh, you. The Catholics convicts. Back from the 80s and 90s. Been some big-time matchups between the two of them. I agree with Marcus Freeman. I really like that dude. He took Notre Dame to the national championship game last year. I mean, Miami had to make a change at quarterback. They had to get a former Georgia quarterback. Had the same thing that they did last year when they brought in a transfer quarterback. The U is still not back. Irish 3, Canes 0.
You're going that low of a score.
Oh, no, I'm just saying 3-0.
Oh,
Oh,
I thought you were picking. I'm glad we made you clarify.
Well, I mean, maybe we need to check the weather report in South Florida and see if they have hurricane type weather coming in, and maybe 3-0 could be the score. If 3-0 becomes the final score, boys, then we're going to start going to Bachoma and making some wagers the next week.
Now, the marquee game of the week, the one that you've already referenced there, Guru, Corso's final headgear pick game, Texas at Ohio State. Ohio State, the defending national champs, but they're starting over with the new quarterback. So this is not necessarily the same team last year. Texas, a team with all the hype. I don't know if y'all have heard they have a Manning playing quarterback. I don't know if y'all have heard that anyway.
What's a Manning?
You know, I mean, we'll get to the Mannings in the next pick here. But yeah, Arch Manning finally takes the reins there at Texas. They're the number one team in the country in preseason polls. But Ohio State's still Ohio State, so it's going to be a tough place to play. but I think Texas is going to go in there and get them just because I think that Texas is a hungry team. I think they're going to be a well-prepared team. I think they're going to be ready. I'm picking Texas to beat Ohio State at Ohio State.
Man, it's tough. I've debated this one. I can't even remember what I picked for the newspaper. I'm going to be completely honest with you because I've just debated going back and forth on this one. I like Texas. I like Sark. I like what he's done with the program. I think that you can say now that Texas is back. They've been saying that for years, but I think you can finally say that Texas is truly back. But Ohio State, I mean, Ryan Day, for all the flack that he gets, he's a top 5 coach. I mean, you can take one shoe off your foot and count the times he's lost with your hands and one foot. I just can't see Texas going into that game, even with Arch Manning, right, a new quarterback, and them just dominating that game. I'm going to say Ohio State because they're at home. They're going to get that one by maybe 3 to 5 to 6 points, I'm going to say. It's going to be close.
Safe pick.
Not a bad pick by either one of you. So I get to split us. Now Columbus is going to be raucous. The only thing I don't like about this game is that it's an 11 a.m. kickoff. Yeah. That's where Fox and Big Ten fail drastically.
Yeah.
I mean, why put your marquee game of the win? I'm not even going to go any further because it's just so dumb. I mean, can you imagine the LSU Clemson game, the biggest game in the SEC this Saturday, being at 11 o'clock?
Right.
That's a joke. However, Arch Manning has had some significant playing time over the last 2 seasons. I think at the end of the day, he's going to work his way up the Heisman leaderboard talk as we progress through the season. I think that's the biggest difference in this game. You have 2 well-seasoned coaches. You have the defending national champion Buckeyes, Texas, a semifinalist from last year. I love Coach Sark too. But I did a little research, a little bit more than you two. The guy that's starting at Ohio State under center played in 4 games last year, threw a total of 12 passes.
Yeah.
Completed 4.
Julian saying.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. That's the key of the game. Texas by 2 scores.
Former Bama commit.
Yep. He switched over from Bama to Ohio State.
Once Saban retired, he left.
Mm-hmm. All right, now we're going to get to our state schools here as we've got, I think we're all probably going to agree on this first one. Georgia State at Ole Miss. I don't think I'm going to spend a lot of time saying why I'm picking the way it's going to be Ole Miss.
Yes. Oh, wow. I guess I'm going to be the one to split us.
Yeah.
I think Georgia State comes out and they are firing on all cylinders, and Ole Miss.
And Georgia State scores 7. Okay.
I mean, I think that Georgia State there's those upsets that we see throughout the nation. And I think that Georgia State is that team that will upset and get double-digit points against Ole Miss. Ole Miss 42, Georgia State 10.
Ole Miss, go on. Do the big one.
There we go. This is the interstate matchup that we haven't had in a few years now. Mississippi State at Southern Miss. Southern Miss coming off of their second worst season ever. Last year they went 1-11. It was terrible.
Still better than 0-12.
That's why I said second worst, because they did have an 0-12 season as well. But they've got a new coach in there. They've got a lot of transfers. Pretty much they got most of the team that won their conference last year, including their quarterback, who was the all-conference player of the year last year. Their head coach, Huff, has made them wear T-shirts that say 1-11 every day going to class. He puts it up on the scoreboard during practice so that way they can look up and see 1-11. I think that this is going to be a very motivated Southern Miss team coming into this game. Now, Mississippi State, they struggled last year, of course, but they're still an SEC team. They've got depth that Southern Miss probably doesn't have. But I think that the focus that Southern Miss has, I'm going to go ahead and pick Southern Miss in an upset over Mississippi State this weekend. They're the home team. It's in Hattiesburg. Kevin and I are both going to that game to cover it. I think Southern Miss is going to pull off an upset this weekend. That's my big pick here.
Well, I'll say this. I think Mississippi State wins this game just because they are a SEC team over a Sun Belt team. And Southern Miss fans aren't going to like that. They don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. You said it perfectly. They have more depth at the end of the day, and you're still installing a new system at Southern Miss, still a new coach, despite the team, like you said, knowing each other, it's still a rebuild. And but I will say this. I think it's going to be closer than what many State fans want it to be. And if State does lose this game, they've lost the season. I'm calling it now. If they lose this game, they're going to spiral. I really believe that. So I'm picking State, but those Golden Buzzards, man, don't be surprised if they put up a fight.
I think it should be the Thundering Eagles there, buddy.
Thundering Eagles.
Or Golden Herd.
Or Golden Herd.
Oh, my goodness. Eagle Post is going to love this clip.
So, yeah, with Coach Huff coming over from Marshall and bringing, at least from what I saw on the roster, 21 former Thundering Herd players with him to Hattiesburg. You alluded to the quarterback. I mean, the Sun Belt better get ready because the Eagles are coming. However, like both of you stated, it's still a little bit different. I know USM fans won't like it, but the truth is the truth, and it's why you're not in the SEC, because you can't recruit to the same level that Mississippi State can. And even if they're right now bottom of the barrel team in the SEC, it's still night and day as far as depth. And I mean, I think for Coach Levy, this is, like you said, Kevin, this is a must-win for them. Now, how that transcends this Saturday at the Rock, where I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to be surprised if this prediction is wrong, I'm going to say there's going to be more maroon in that stadium than there is black and gold, because you both know
I think you're right.
That over the years, there's been a lot of empty seats.
Yeah,
Those are
stadium.
fans dressed as empty seats.
Exactly. And I think I kind of go with what Kevin said, close game, but I think it's a close game into the fourth quarter, and I think that's where we're going to get a little bit of separation, and that depth will show. And if the game goes like it should, I think you see about a 10-point Mississippi State win.
You know, I can't argue with y'all's pick. I just have that feeling is why I went the way I did. Before we get into our high school picks, one follow-up question on that game. If I'm right, Southern Miss pulls off this upset, how hot is that seat for Coach Libby? Kevin, I'll let you start.
Boiling. It is boiling hot. And I don't think it's fair. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't think it's fair. I don't think, and look, I love Mike Leach, okay? I love Mike Leach. But that program was not an elite program when Mike Leach was coaching that team. Let's just be real here. It was not. If you look at the numbers, he and Moorhead had similar numbers. And Moorhead and Leach are thought of in entirely different lights in Starkville. But that team was not just rip-roaring elite. And then you have the success that Ole Miss has had. You have the NIL coming in. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot where Mississippi State's fighting an uphill battle. So I think that the seat's boiling for Levy, but I don't think it's necessarily should be.
But it will be.
It will be.
Do you think it's justified if Southern Miss upsets them in week one?
Yeah, I think so.
I won't disagree. I don't think it. Now, if State goes out there and gets beat 40-10, yeah, you got a mess of problems in Stark Vegas. But if Southern pulls out a close win, I mean, you still got 11 games left to play. They can, I mean, with the remaining 3 games on State's non-conference schedule, they still can be 3-1 heading into conference play. I mean, while a loss will or potentially could train wreck the season, I don't think it will. And I know for a full for a full 6.5 days in Stark Vegas and across the Southeast for all the maroon and white fans, yeah, they'll be calling for his head on a platter.
And I should be clarified. The fans are going to want him to go.
Right.
Yeah.
The fans. The
Right.
admin might think differently.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the fans.
I mean, that's
they're
two
gonna
totally
want him.
different entities.
Yeah, for sure. So I
I mean,
should
we've
clarify
seen that, but yes, the fans will be irate. And I know one really close because we share the same blood. My brother will be one of those fans. He'll also be at the game. Him and my sister-in-law, shout out. But no, I think it'll be hot. His seat will be hot based off fan reaction alone. But there's still time to change it around. And just to expound a little bit, and there's more of that in our preview magazine about state. This is still a rebuilding year. I mean, if they double their win total from last year, 2 to 4, in my opinion, that's a winning season. I know a lot of them, and my brother's one of them. Bless your heart, Sam. But just looking at that schedule, man,
It's
to
brutal.
get to, I mean, Southern Miss, it's a must win
It really is.
to probably get to those 4 wins because, I mean, outside of those 4 non-conference games, brothers, those 8 conference games, it's hard to find one, definitely 2 wins. And if they could get to 6-6, I think they should be in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, it's going to be a fun college football season. There are going to be some upsets that we're going to see for sure. We're gonna
that's
see
why we
all
love it.
kinds of craziness. I've already got one upset, that I just talked about. Now it's time to get into our high school picks, and this will be a little bit of fun. We'll have some games, on these picks that are a little bit out of our area, so we might not describe why we pick who we pick as long in some of these first few games. But
I think you go top to bottom.
that's how I'm. Well, bottom to top. So what direction I'm going?
And I said that dyslexic. No offense.
Let's start with Jefferson Davis County at MRA Madison Ridgeland Academy. I think that's I think Madison Ridgeland Academy wins that one pretty easily. I don't know a whole lot about either team, but based on what I have read, just to try to see if I could get a feel for this game, it looks like almost everybody's expecting MRA to win this one going away.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, man. I know what MRA is. I know that they're the big powerhouse in MAIS and all of that. I know they're 0-1. According to their schedule, they got beat by Ravenwood as I look it up. But you know why I say that I just can't agree with you? It's because of the man coaching Jeff Davis County. It's because of Lance Mancuso. And he's possibly one of the best coaches we have in the state. And I think that Jeff Davis County is going to be a contender in their region. I think they're going to be a contender in the state championship talk. And I think that he sees MRA as a challenge, and I think that he will get those kids motivated to play MRA. So, yeah, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going JDC, baby.
And going back to Coach Mancuso, he is one of the best coaches in the state, period. There's no maybe. He is. However, you referred to Ravenwood out of Brentwood, Tennessee, because, see, I did my homework, too.
Okay.
I didn't have to just cheat and use the computer like you did. I already have it written down on this sheet of paper. They lost to Brentwood 28-24 last week, did MRA. Last year, Ravenwood went 13-1 with their only loss coming in the state championship game. 4-point loss to a state runner-up. Give me MRA, baby. Give me the Patriots.
Man, yep, I'm going to have to do more homework next week because you guys are way ahead of me on this. Next game is probably one of the biggest matchups in the state this week. That's going to be Tupelo at Brandon. Both teams are teams that a lot of people think could win the state championship in 7A. So I think that you've got this as a marquee matchup. It's at Brandon, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't done a ton of research. I know a little bit about Tupelo, a little bit about Brandon. I'm mainly going to pick Brandon because they're the home team. I really look forward because the two of y'all have done a little bit more into this. Kevin, tell me why I'm right or wrong.
You're wrong because Tupelo's going to win the state championship in 7A football. But I just say Tupelo is probably the best team in the state of Mississippi. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. They come off of a state championship win last year. They're just loaded. We talked about the Dandy Dozen and the players that were snubbed and the ones that are on the team. They're just loaded through and through. I just think that they're going to be able to beat Brandon. And if my girl sees this and I pick Brandon, knowing she's from up there, I'll be having a find my way home tonight. So I'm not doing that. But yeah, I'm going to pick Tupelo in this one.
Yeah, expounding upon that, I'll go ahead and tell you right now, it's Tupelo. Won't be surprised if they run the table, win a second state championship, and the number one reason is the defense. They have a major tier D1 level recruit in every phase of their defense. Line, linebackers, secondary. They have some studs on defense. They have one of the top 5 running backs in the state. I will not be the least bit surprised if Tupelo goes to Brandon and beats them by 2 to 3 touchdowns.
Next, we've got Oak Grove at Starkville. Again, this is another one of those matchups. I know Oak Grove traditionally has always had a solid program, but so is Starkville. So, I mean, these are two teams that are traditionally pretty good programs. I'm going to go with Oak Grove in this game.
Same. I'm going with Oak Grove. I really like Drew Causey, and I like what they're doing. They've got a returning quarterback who played well last year. They bring back a lot on their offense. They bring back a pretty good bit defensively, if I'm not mistaken. Starkville is also a really good team. I think this might be the best game of the week that we see in the state, sort of statewide stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Oak Grove in this one.
And to go along with that and your assessment of Oak Grove, you should have done a better job reading the preview of Oak Grove in the Laurel Leader-Call Kickoff magazine, which I know you were privy to that information before it got released today. Coach Causey's replacing more than 30 seniors from last year's team. It's going to be a bit of a rebuilding year for Oak Grove. Now, they are one of your bigger programs. They don't regroup, they reload. They still have some studs. Give me Starkville, baby.
Going with Starkville. So
how many of those players they start, Guru? How many of those players started?
3. No, I really don't know.
Next game, and this is why it's fun. I'm enjoying the back and forth here. So it's more fun when you two disagree.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and say that. So hopefully y'all disagree on this next game, which is Hattiesburg at Petal. We saw Petal in the Jamboree. We saw what they could do for 2 quarters. Hattiesburg, of course, they've got probably the best receiver in the state already signed with LSU. So, you've got this stud receiver. It's going to be a fun matchup, kind of a rivalry game. I'm going to go with Hattiesburg in this one. I just have a feeling that Hattiesburg's going to get it done, but it wouldn't surprise me if it goes the other way.
They do. They have the best wide receiver in the state. Hattiesburg does. But I just don't know the new coach. I spoke with him for the preview, and he was excited about what he had returning. I do know they were having to replace a lot on the line and things like that. There was things that they were having to do there. But it's hard for me to pick against Marcus Boyles, man. It's just hard for me. He's coming back to Petal or come back there and getting those boys back going. So it's hard for me to pick against Petal. So I'm going to take Petal close in that game.
And like you said, with Hattiesburg having a new coach, and not only is he a new coach to Hattiesburg, he's a new coach to the state of Mississippi coming in from Georgia. And there's some things he had to learn a little bit quickly right off the bat, which we'll get into a little bit more of that next week, right? And but like you said, Boyles at Petal. He's been around the block. He knows this rivalry. And then going back to Hattiesburg, Tristan Keys, the wide receiver, number 1 player in the state, one of the top receivers in the country. But he can only catch it if it's thrown to him, if he has time to get the ball. Now, you get the kid the ball in or out of space, he can make it happen. He can score from anywhere on the field. But I just think, with so much newness, other than him and the players there, but the whole new regime, I'm gonna agree with you, Kevin. I think it's Petal, and close-ish, but yeah, Petal gets it done.
Next matchup, we've got Raleigh at Diablerville. This could be another fun game. I think Riley's going to win this one, so I'm going with the road team again on this one.
Yeah, I know I sound like a broken record here, but I think it's coaching, man. You have a Lance Mancuso disciple walking the sidelines at Raleigh, and he looks for a challenge, man. He doesn't see D'Iberville as a much larger team. He just looks at them as a challenge. And I really like what Raleigh's doing. I like what they're doing as a whole. I want to pick Raleigh, but I think being week one, I think I'm going to go with D'Iberville on this one, but it's going to be for the betterment of Raleigh, whatever happens.
Yeah, I think stepping up in classification, several classifications like the Lions are doing, facing the Warriors of D'Iberville is going to help them along the way. But I'm going to keep it short and sweet, D'Iberville.
Yeah.
Next matchup, we've got Mize at Taylorsville. This is always a fun one. I think this is going to be another one of those matchups that you could flip a coin over. I'm going to go with Taylorsville, the home team. I think that they're going to take care of business, hold on to their home turf.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Mize in this one. I know me and you are disagreeing a lot, Jack. It's not because I know more about it. I just think that I think Mize, they are going to have a spread offense this year. They're moving from wing T to the spread, which is big. But they have a playmaker who plays both sides of the ball, running back and linebacker. He looks for somebody to hit. And then you have a new coach at Taylorsville. You have a new quarterback who he's replacing a guy who had been starting since, I believe, the 8th grade. So, new quarterback there. Now, they do have some wide receivers. They've got a wide receiver who's about 6'5", who can jump up and just win a 50-50 ball. But I'm gonna give it to Mize close, man. I like what they're doing.
We're going to go a different direction with this one, and it's going to be pretty cut and dry, easy, simple. It's a Bulldog versus a Tartar. The Tartar cuts the Bulldog's head off. Go Taylorsville.
Simple as it can get there. This next one, it's Silva Bay Academy versus Christ Covenant. They play smaller field football. Not smaller field, but
smaller man.
Smaller 8-man. That's what I couldn't remember if it was 8 or 7.
They don't play with smaller people. They're regular size. It's just a smaller
regular size,
smaller amount of players on the field.
Yeah. 8-man football there. I'm gonna go ahead and say that I'm picking Silva Bay mainly because my friend Gerald Wade is the headmaster of Silva Bay. I don't have any expertise on this matchup, so I'm going with a friend's school. So I'm picking Silva Bay to go 2-0 and win this game.
The Silva Bay nearly went undefeated last year in 8-man football. They were on probation, couldn't go deep or couldn't go to the playoffs or anything. I believe it was because they were on probation. But yeah, I'm gonna get Silva Bay on this one.
Who dat?
There we go. We got a clean
Saints and small man football with a win.
Small man football. Yeah, sometimes when you're trying to think of the things, it just locks up and you're like 8-man, 7, and somehow small man came out. So apologize to those players. Heidelberg at Noxubee County. This is going to be a fun game. This is going to be, I think this is another one that's a toss up. I'm going with the home team in this one, even though I definitely could see Heidelberg taking it. I'm going Noxubee County in this one.
There's going to be an oil spill in Noxubee County, baby. Go Oilers. Go Oilers.
All right. Got to be the deciding difference once again. I like looking at outside of our county, our 4 county schools, which are all in one form or another playing each other this week. And then, your bigger school matchups are like in the small schools. I think this is probably one of the premier games in the state this Friday night. And Heidelberg having to travel up to Noxubee County. Both of these teams are going to be competing for state championships this year. But come on, man, it's Tigers. Noxubee County, give them to me.
You have a hard time picking against Tigers, don't you?
Unless they're playing another set of Tigers.
There you go. Next game that we've got, Enterprise Clark at Stringer. Again, I'm going with the home team. my first beat when I first got into sports writing, I was sent to Stringer. Seemed like every weekend. So I have a soft spot for those guys. So I'm picking Stringer in this game. So go Stringer.
I don't know squat about what Enterprise Clark is bringing back, but let me tell you something. I can't go against my buddy Dan Brady. Cannot go against him. What he's got going on there, he's turning that program around. They're a sleeper picking 1A. Give me Stringer.
I love Coach Dan Brady. He's a funny guy, but he's a great coach. However, once again, you boys didn't do your homework on Enterprise Clark. Don't sleep on them. I didn't do any homework. I don't even know what their mascot name is. Give me the Devils, baby. Give me them Stringer Red Devils.
Next one we've got Bay Springs at South Pike. This is another good matchup. It's going to be a fun game. You know, I think Bay Springs could take this game, but I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going with South Pike in this one.
Give me Bay Springs. I've got a little running bet going on with our friends over there at the EJ and their sports guy. I told him he picked South Pike, but if South Pike loses, he's got to give me a go Dogs. So give me a go Dogs, baby, Bay Springs.
Bay Springs. Why would you pick South Pike? Why? The Bulldogs, they're going to run wild.
Next one we've got, now we're getting to the big two, and we're going to start off with West Jones versus Laurel. We've got the big matchup this weekend. Laurel, of course, coming off of a rough season last year, trying to bounce back. West Jones, just they're one of those programs that just reloads, like you talked about. This is going to be a tough matchup. I think it goes back to something you said earlier in one of the other matchups. I think Laurel will be better for having played this game, but I think the Mustangs are going to take this one. So give me West Jones in this one.
Now here's a guy in Mr. Jackson at wide receiver for the Tornadoes who's going to make a difference.
Jenkins.
What did I say?
Jackson.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Can't be edited out.
Oh, it can't be edited. Oh my gosh, I had my horrible Tony Romo.
Look, if my small man football makes it, then your screw up has to make it too.
I'm so sorry, Jenkins. I'm so sorry. I even wrote the feature on my guy. Anyway, I think he's going to be a difference maker in this game, and I think that Laurel wins close against the Colts.
Ooh.
Sorry,
Corey, that was unscripted. That was all him.
We didn't know
I'm being flooded with hate comments every time I post that logo. I like the logo, by the way. I'm endorsing the logo, but yeah, I'm picking Laurel over West Jones.
I'm not going into logo talk. You know, you throw them L's up. That L Town swag. That's where I'm from, baby. Class of '95. Golden Tornado football. But you got to go to so-so. Like you said, Jack, lately West Jones just kind of reloads. And Jackson Jenkins, while he might be very good.
Jackson Jenkins.
This ain't small man football. This is big man football. Hold it. You hear that in the background? It sounds like a stampede. I don't hear any tornado sirens in the background. Here come the Mustangs, and they're going to run away with it on Friday night. Give me West Jones.
Now for our matchup that will be played on Thursday night.
Tonight,
we are going to be, and all three of us will be at this game. So
in the jungle.
To the jungle. South Jones is traveling to Northeast Jones. Northeast Jones is making the jump to 5A this year from 4A. They're not in the same region, not district. We covered that last time as South Jones, but they are stepping up. This game is going to be a fun one. South Jones last year, they made progress, made the playoffs, hosted a playoff game, weren't able to get a win in that game, but they're a hungry team. They've got some studs coming back. We've already talked about a few at the start of this show. Give me South Jones. Give me the Braves in this one. But I think it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be a close one. But give me South Jones.
Oh man, I've been debating this one. I like what both teams are doing, but I think that South Jones is going to have it a little bit more together. I think they've got a little bit more together. I think that Coach Milner, him talking about that they're going to experience growing pains and some of that stuff, that he talked about. I think that I'm going to give the edge to South Jones. I think it should be a close game. I told y'all last week, I think A.J. Pugh he's going to be an exciting player in the county. So I think he could take it as a challenge to come out there and kind of carry the load for the Tigers. But, man, I just can't ignore it. I'm going to say go Braves. South Jones wins it.
I think one of the most interesting things will be the battle up front between the South Jones offensive line and the two studs that are featured in the Dirty Dozen for Northeast Jones, Percy and Carson. I mean, that's where the key is going to be. If they are able to shut down Anquan Jackson in the South Jones running game, Northeast has a fighter's chance in the game. It's going to be at the Jungle, but, I mean, this is Jones County. It doesn't matter. It's going to be a 50-50 split. I expect that place tonight just to be rocking and roaring. It's going to be fun. It's going to be electric. It's a great way to kick off the high school football season here in Jones County. But at the end of the day, you can hear it in the background, and you can see those arms waving. Oh, but McAfee style. No, I'm just kidding. Go Braves.
I thought for a second he was going to flip it there, but so we all picked South Jones in that final pick there, folks, and we look forward to coming back to you guys every week and giving you these insights. And again, these two next to me, they've been covering it a lot longer than I have, so they have a little bit more insight than I do, but I look forward to learning a lot this year as we continue through this process. And maybe I won't refer to 8-man football as small man football.
Maybe Kev won't refer to his favorite player in the county as Jackson.
So sorry.
But just remember, it's on the newsstands. If you are not a subscriber, you're more than welcome to come by the Laurel Leader-Call office at 318 North Magnolia Street in downtown, across the street from Cafe La Fleur, and pick up a copy of Kickoff 2025. Thank you, and enjoy your weekend.
With that, I think we will close this one out, Kevin, unless you want to add something before we step out of here.
Hope to see you tomorrow night and Friday night on the football field.
This has been the Laurel Leader-Call Sports Show. We'll see you guys next week.